I'm Lex.
I'm Tay.
And this is our take on college? Okay. All right, you guys, sorry. This is our first episode, and we've literally been debating how to do that intro, for 5 minutes, and we need to record. So we're going to keep that. It's Lex.
And Tay. That's us,
Yeah.
honestly. That's authentic.
This is us and our take on college. So that's the important part. We'll get it better for you the next episode. But let's just get right into it. So first off, I'm Lex, or given name is Alexis. I go by Lexi. But yeah, I'm Alexis Hipsky. I'm from Central Indiana, and I am a sophomore here at Indiana University. This is where we are recording, editing, and distributing our podcast on Spotify and YouTube. And we are so excited to be here today. And this is my bestie, Tay.
Yeah, so I'm Tay, or Taylor. Also so excited to be here. I'm from southeastern Indiana, so a very different geographical area than Lexi. Two very different things, but that's what makes us get along, I think. I'm a non-traditional junior, so I transferred in actually a whole year of college because I was a dual enrollment senior, which I'm very lucky.
She's just a smart baddie for real, guys. Come on now. But anyway, so this is our first episode, and we're really excited for you all to get to know us. And so our title is You Don't Have to Be Best Friends with Your Roommate, but we are. Get to know us, obviously. So we're obviously going to cover a couple different things in this episode. But first thing that we kind of want to start off with is that I came in as a traditional freshman, and then, Taylor had mentioned that she came in with a bunch of credits from senior year. So technically she started as a sophomore, which is very normal in college, but we met over social media, and we'll kind of get into a little bit more later. But it's really normal for people to, one, not stay friends with their roommates, or to be friends with their roommates, or even just be kind of civil. Like my boyfriend, he's super civil with his roommate from last year. They're not super close by any means, but, they were fine. They lived great together, but they're just not friends. But if they saw each other around campus, I'm pretty sure they'd say hi and catch up. And then there are some people we know that it didn't work out, and that's totally normal, just because not everybody is the same and not everybody is going to get along, and that living together is what makes you realize that. But Tay, kind of give your perspective a little bit, and then we'll kind of hop in.
Honestly, so sometimes I see us getting along as a complete fluke, because we're so opposite that it's how did these two end up together? And then also it's how do they still have common interest to stay being friends? Because we're very different, but I think that's what makes our friendship and our dynamic just so much more special, is because our differences are able to keep us closer. It's kind of odd, but
no, I agree. It definitely is a weird dynamic. Never in a million years would I have thought that I would be best friends with my freshman year roommate of college. And that's kind of crazy, but I absolutely love it and could not be more grateful for the entire experience. So it is kind of weird on an everyday basis. We're two very different people, but we fit so well together, and it's really a blessing in disguise. And I think sometimes that's just kind of how you crack the code with roommates. But anyways, we're both from Indiana. We both go to Indiana University Bloomington. We're pretty basic.
Yeah.
But
we're Indiana, born and raised, Where else were we going to go to college? I mean, I can say where else I was going to go to college, but I think Lexi, which you'll find out about that later, Lexi had some other options, but we both ended up here. Indiana girls.
Yeah. Live, laugh, love Indiana. We love it. But we'll kind of get into a little bit of our childhood. So I grew up in Central Indiana. Like I said, I went to the same school system my entire life. I have 4 siblings, but I've got 2 fully biological, 1 half and 1 step. My parents got divorced when I was in 3rd grade, and stayed in the same hometown my entire life. Again, I didn't really have a lot of friends throughout school, so coming to college was definitely a fresh start, and I was really excited about that. But I think honestly, too, that was really nice to be able to make a friend, and not to mention my best friend as a freshman with my roommate. That was super beneficial, and honestly, one of the best things to have ever come from it. My parents absolutely adore Taylor. My grandparents love her. My boyfriend loves her, and my other friends love her. So it really could not have worked out better. But some other fun things from my childhood. I grew up super competitive. My dad used to coach me in literally every sport imaginable. And I did show choir in high school. I was a really good student. I was involved with the football team my senior year. I had a lot of really cool things. I got my certified medical assistance degree as a senior in high school. And I don't know. Is there anything really fun about me? I literally get sick all the time. I was just in the student health center today. That's a fun fact. We were debating talking about that. But I counted. I went to the student health center 8 times last year, which was an average of 4 times a semester, which is average basically once a month. When really, in reality, I was there like 1 month straight. But
yeah, shout out the student health center, keeping Lexi alive, honestly.
Literally. But yeah, no, I had to go today, so that was super fun, funky, and fresh. But yeah, that's kind of about my childhood. Tay, if you want to share with yours.
Oh yeah, so I'm from southeastern Indiana, so I'm pretty close to the Cincinnati border, but I'm still very small town, which is not how Lexi grew up. But I'm very small town. Like, I graduated like with 60 in my class. Knew the same kids from like kindergarten to the day I graduated, so that was pretty cool. My parents are still together. They started dating in high school. Then I have a younger brother, so we're both older siblings.
Yes, we are. Gotta love it.
That's another reason why we get along. It's a whole perspective that we have on things. But yeah, no, I tried to be an athlete. It didn't work out for me. I mean, shout out my dad too. Like, he really tried.
Slay Rick.
Like, I was not like that. And he was such a good coach that even after I had quit like soccer, they asked him to stay and coach. Like, it's not for me, but like, your dad's a good coach, so like, come and watch the games and your dad can still coach. But no, that's not what ended up happening. So I did dance growing up. And then I was also in show choir. And then I was really into student government. I was student body president. Shout out. But then I was in National Honor Society too. So like, we did similar stuff, but
yeah.
Not exactly the same.
Yeah, we did have some similarities. Like, show choir was a really big one, and we'll kind of talk about like that connection later. And then National Honor Society, and Taylor, like she said, was in student government. I was part of student council, not as involved as Taylor, but still a part of it and doing different things like that. So yeah, super fun. And the next kind of thing we were going to talk about was kind of like hobbies and fun things that we do, just so you guys can get to know us a little bit more. I feel like most of the people listening or watching when this episode comes out is going to be people that know us, but from both sides, we don't know everybody's friends or people back home. So something about me, some hobbies and fun things about me. I absolutely love to do like crafts, like artsy things, super into like pottery. I'm actually taking a metalsmithing and jewelry design class right now, you guys. Super fun. I need to send a picture of Taylor of me in lab, or like when we're in the workshop, because I'm just, filing away at my metal and I look like such a baddie, and it's so fun. But I absolutely love just like doing things with my hands. I paint, I garden, I cook, a lot of fun things like that. Super cool thing about me that I don't talk about much with people anymore, just because I've kind of taken a hiatus, is that I actually am a pageant queen. I did win in the Miss America Opportunity Program. It used to be called the Miss America Organization. It's now called Miss America Opportunity, and that has since changed after I competed. I competed back in 2022. Yeah, January of 2022, won my local title, ended up competing for Miss Indiana later that year in June, and did really well as a rookie. Kind of took a hiatus because of school, was transitioning obviously to college, and I am actually planning on competing for that same local title later this year, which I'm very excited about, and I have a lot of people supporting me, which is super exciting. But that's a really fun thing about me, and with that, in the Miss America opportunity organization. There is room for service and what you do for your community. And with that, I talk about eating disorders and resources, education, and I actually am drafting a bill currently. It is taking a little bit of time, but as one does, I want it to be the best that it can. So when it's taken to state legislation, it stays. So that's a little bit more about me. Taylor, tell us some fun things about you.
Yeah, so obviously I'm not as cool as Lexi.
Whatever.
But so we have a running joke that I'm her pageant manager. That's a running joke.
It's facts, actually. It's not even a joke.
So I'm excited to see her compete with that. And I'm not as crafty. I've never been as artsy, but I do love to read. My favorite book is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. And I'm just into all the true crime, love the documentaries. Our favorite podcast together is actually Morbid, which sounds morbid, but we enjoy
fucking
listening.
Facts it is. Let's go. Shout out Elena and Ash. We absolutely adore you guys. You're the absolute best.
We adore them. Yeah, so I read a lot and I'm really into my, studies. I have a lot of reading. I read so much for class. It's hard to have hobbies, honestly, but
that's so true though. I feel like we read so much because with your basic English or literature classes, it gets so hard to not lose the pleasure of reading a book. I love to read too, so I totally understand, especially in college when you have to take Taylor will talk about her major, but she has a lot of reading that she has to do, so it definitely takes the fun out of it sometimes, but I get you, bestie.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a music person too. Big Swiftie. Lexi's also a big Swiftie, but
yeah.
Big Swiftie. I also weirdly like rap music too, but it's because of the story, right? I like to read into every single lyric. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're dissing this person. I don't know. And Lexi just laughs, but she knows.
No, I love it.
I sat there and explained to her in the car the other day the SZA and Drake bouncing back and forth lyrics.
Don't even get me started on that right now.
It's a whole thing. No, I just love doing that, and I love music, love reading. That's pretty much it, hobby wise. But yeah.
Can we touch on that really quick? Because SZA and Drake, y'all just need to forgive one another and maybe get back together.
Because need to get back together, honestly.
We literally were driving home. So this is being recorded on Wednesday, September 6th. And we just drove back to Bloomington from my hometown because Taylor came and spent Labor Day weekend with us. And so I am not really big on rap. It's not that I hate it or anything. It's just my brain can't take just something about rap music. It just doesn't click with my brain, and I don't know why, but it's just something that I have. Not sure why, but Taylor was telling me about it, and I love a good story. I love a good gossip sesh. I love a good shit talk, and when you find out that this song is about someone that you adore, you're like, holy shit, what? And so then Taylor was like, yeah, you didn't know this song was about SZA. I'm like, fuck no, I didn't know it was about SZA. What the hell are you talking about?
No, because he completely calls her out.
Right?
It's so obvious. And because Lexi doesn't like it like that.
No.
She's not going to sit there and be oh my God, analyzing lyrics. No, I'm sitting there
And I analyze lyrics, don't get me wrong, but I honestly don't know enough about rap to even know that rap is literally storytelling. That's what it is with any music really, but rap truly is storytelling at its finest, and I did not know that.
Yeah, no, it's just crazy because she would look at me and she'd be like, no way. I'm like, yeah, way. Did you hear this line? She released an album called SOS. He drops a song called, what is it, Search and Rescue?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
And just you listen to
it. The connection.
And you're like, what in what? And oh gosh, I don't even know. It sent me for a loop. That's for real.
And then our other one was Travis Scott.
I love Travis
Scott. New music, new album that dropped, Utopia. And the last two tracks when he's talking about Kylie Jenner.
Oh my God.
That whole story, we're just baffled.
Literally.
We're
shocked.
Oh, he's dissing her that bad.
Uh-huh.
So that's just it's a different way to think about it. Cuz I guess from not a girl's perspective, cuz anybody can sit there and analyze the lyric, right? But, like, we're girls that don't traditionally, like, we're not going to listen to, like, hard rap music. But, like, we're, like, the drama.
Quick hot take, because when we get into that later in the series, rap is the new soap opera. And only specific rap, like, specific. So that's a really quick hot take.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways, so that's, like, something really fun about us.
Yeah.
Is now you know, too, that we really love listening to rap and dissecting it in the car on the way back to places.
Yeah,
but we're going to kind of talk about now, like, why we chose IU and then, like, how we met. So for me, I never in a million years would have ever thought that I would end up in Bloomington, Indiana. I refused. So, like, when I was little, I was in Girl Scouts. I forgot to mention that. I was in Girl Scouts from the time I was 4 or 5 years old as a daisy, literally all the way until I was a senior in high school and aged out when I turned 18. So I loved Girl Scouts, absolutely adored it. And when we were younger, the organization has changed, like, over time, obviously, as it does in the span of 14 years. But I used to go to, like, Girl Scout camp, whatever. And one of the things we used to do was go to a STEM camp and a STEM program. And it was actually here in Bloomington at the Indiana University Biology Building. And one of my fondest memories from Girl Scouts was actually here, but I wasn't old enough to register that. And I also know that we have been here for games before, but I literally would just block it out because I grew up a Michigan Wolverines fan. So go Blue. If anybody listening is a Wolverines fan, love you to death. If you like Ohio State, you can go fuck yourself. Anyways, but sorry, had to throw that in there. Love you, Dad. But so yeah, I just never, like, growing up in Indiana, my mom was in Indiana, like, an IU sports fan, but my dad was a diehard Wolverines, and we have family in Michigan, so we would, go to Michigan, and it was always projected, like, my dad wanted me to go there, and I loved the school, I loved the environment, and I wanted to be there. Their sports teams are absolutely dominant, like, just amazing, and their academics are on par with Ivy Leagues. You can argue all that you want, but it's true. Their acceptance rate is less than 25%. And with that, if you want to get specialized, it's even less than that. So obviously it's not as small as an Ivy League, but it's still pretty hard to get into. So when it came to, like, junior year, I already really knew that I wanted to go there, and I applied to only 4 schools. And that was because if I wasn't going to Michigan, I wasn't going to go out of state. And that's when I had also decided I really was thinking about going to Boston at some point, and just realized that with my want to be in pageantry and be in state, the only thing that I really could do was go to Michigan or surrounding states. And I didn't want to go to Illinois. I didn't want to go to Ohio. I didn't want to go down south. My dad also wanted me to go to Bama or, like, Georgia, Ole Miss, like, big SEC schools, because, again, athletics are dominant. It's a different culture. I personally wouldn't put myself there. I don't think that I would thrive the way that I do up here north, but that's a personal opinion. I have no beef with the South. I just think that it was not for me. So yeah, like, it was the University of Michigan, Indiana University, Purdue University, and Ball State. And I applied to Ball State as, like, my safety school because I got really nervous. I was a great student. I graduated with a 3.9 GPA, unweighted. And so, but my ACT score was really bad. I was a really bad test taker. And unfortunately, at the time that I applied to Michigan, they still considered test scores. So I had to submit it. And they were just turning the corner with being like, we do not accept test scores. So I'll get into that decision in a minute, but I got into Ball State, got into their honors program for nursing, which was my intended major at the time. And then I applied to Purdue, and I applied to IU, and obviously I applied to Michigan. I got into Ball State, like I said, honors college. I got some scholarship money, not a lot. It was whatever, but it also was not the place I wanted to be. I'd been to Muncie a couple times. It was just not the school for me, and I knew that, and I wanted to be at a bigger school. I've always wanted to go to a Big Ten school, and so I just knew that that was too small for me. And so then we got the decision for IU on Thanksgiving, I was over at my cousin's house and we were celebrating, and I opened my email, saw that I got in. I was super excited about that because at this point I had gone to do a visit with my dad because my dad went here and was involved in Greek life here and did a lot of really cool things while he was here, which we have some fun stories for later on from Steve. Don't you guys worry. But I just kind of at that point was between IU and Michigan. And I ended up getting my email back from Purdue saying that I had been denied. And that honestly sent a shot through my heart, only because my boyfriend, his parents went to Purdue and they really wanted him to go there. And so I got really scared that I was going to lose him because he was going to want to go to Purdue. And so we'd both gotten into IU on Thanksgiving, but we hadn't decided where we wanted to go yet because I wanted him to choose for himself. But deep down, I was really nervous, scared, and really disappointed in myself because I worked my ass off in high school and never in a million years would have thought that Purdue would have rejected me. But their nursing program is and was difficult to get into. So, and it's set up differently than IU. You are technically a direct admit at Purdue. And then once you hit a certain point throughout the year, that's when they start to drop people due to grades. But their program is just set up very differently. And I just didn't make the cut, unfortunately. And it actually ended up being a blessing in disguise as I actually got assaulted on Purdue's campus when I was a sophomore in high school. I was sexually assaulted by someone on one of their athletic teams, which we won't get super far into just because I didn't take legal action. And it's in my past and I've healed from it. But it definitely would have been really difficult being on campus every day with the potential of running into that person. And so it really was a blessing in disguise. So I'm very thankful now. But at the time, it was something that was really sad and really hard to deal with. I felt really incompetent. I felt like my parents were disappointed. I felt like my boyfriend's parents were going to want him to break up with me because I was stupid. And that's like a whole nother thing with a college exception where you want to go. Don't let the thought of other people being disappointed scare you, because I went to IU and I, again, never thought in a million years that I would come here. And I thought that my parents would be disappointed that I'd go to a state school, but my parents absolutely love it. They are so excited that I'm here. You know, my dad reminisces on the days that he was here. My mom loves the athletic teams here. So it really was a good decision. And the school that I'm in now, which we'll touch later, is the best thing that could have ever happened. But the little last piece of why I came to IU is the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Growing up, like I said, I absolutely adored the school, loved their athletics program. My dad went there, or didn't go there, but he grew up there. So we were on campus all the time. And I've had family members who've actually gone there and stuff like that. And so it was definitely like a legacy thing that I kind of wanted to do. And I ended up getting waitlisted, and I just didn't have the time or the resources, to be honest, to go to that school, especially being out of state. Like, we even said that, you know, my dad was like, I'll pay for it. I was like, you're not paying out of pocket for that. You know, you have other kids to put through school. And also in the long run, I didn't think it was going to be worth it with having a title in an organization where my state was not the one that I'd be going to school in, and I would have to drive 6 hours back home and not even really be able to spend the whole weekend. I'd get to spend a day and then have to spend Sunday driving back home. So in the interim, you know, it wasn't meant to be, and that's okay. My dad and I still love their athletics. We have plans to go see hockey games, go to the IU Michigan football game later this year. So that's kind of my story of why I'm here at IU. One little tidbit, though, I did want to add, when I came to visit with my dad, I fell in love with the campus because I actually saw it for the first time. And I truly enjoy walking to class every day and find little pieces of happiness around campus. And I really think that that's all you can do in a situation where it wasn't necessarily your first choice, but it is a wonderful, wonderful school. So I'm going to stop rambling. Tay, you can now kind of tell us why you chose IU.
You're not rambling. No, you had a lot to say and you opened up so much, and it's your story and how you got here is just, it's amazing. But
I try.
So my reasoning is completely different. I personally couldn't have seen myself going anywhere else. Shout out to my great grandpa and my grandpa. They love IU basketball. Like, diehard fans. Like, I remember watching it growing up and being like, I am going to be in Assembly Hall when they play Kentucky, which they're not even playing Kentucky again until 2027 or something wild.
Yeah, like their basketball schedule is really interesting right now.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to be there when that happens. Like, trust me. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. So, in my original major going into college was going to be psychology. So, like, I can go anywhere. Like, I wasn't really specialized. Like, I was just going to be psychology because, I mean, my end goal is law school. And to get into law school, you don't have to have anything specific. Just got to have that bachelor's degree, those good grades, and a good LSAT. That's all you need. But, so I really I knew this is where I wanted to be, but then I also shopped around a little bit at some smaller private schools closer to home. Shout out my mom because she loves Hanover College.
Slay Jen?
Yeah, Slay Jen. She loves Hanover College and would go there herself right now if she could. But yeah, so I shopped around. I looked at a couple other schools. I saved this one for last because I knew it was going to be my choice. So I stepped one foot on campus and I was like, yeah. Like I don't care how much money any of these private schools give me. This is where I'm going. Like, no matter what, this is where I'm going. And then I was actually able to tell my family on Thanksgiving because I guess I applied earlier. I don't know if I applied earlier than you, but I got my result before you.
I applied, like, this is the thing about IU too, like every university is different. So like Michigan had a hard cutoff date with early action. So I had applied and then they were like, we are going to further review yours. So I was basically put on hold, or I'm trying to think of what the actual term is, but like they pushed my decision to regular decision with other kids, but I had applied early action and they'd already reviewed. So they were still debating. And then obviously I found out that I got waitlisted and then all that stuff.
Yeah.
But IU is rolling admissions, so is some other schools. So I applied probably later than you, but I found out on Thanksgiving. Same with Ethan. Ethan applied later than I did. Yeah. So we both found out on Thanksgiving, and it kind of just depends, I guess. But yeah, rolling admission. Ball State was rolling admission, and they came back to me within 3 weeks. And then Purdue was a hard deadline decision. Yeah. So theirs was not rolling. They came out on one specific day.
Yeah, I remember I applied early action, but because I'm so extra, and, like, you can kind of tell with my personality, I was the first grandkid. Like, I was the first niece, nephew, like, first kid in the family, first, like, after so long. So, like, personally, everything about me in my mind is a big deal. So people do gender reveals for their kids, right? Well, I decided that because I'm just that important. Like, everybody just needed to know. I decided to do a college reveal cake at Thanksgiving.
As you fucking should.
So that was like a whole thing. And it was like a really special moment with my great-grandpa because I got to give him the first piece that was the crimson and the white little stripes in the cake. And it was just a great, like, moment for my family. And I'll always remember that.
I love that.
Yeah, we have a pic and everything. Insert pic, maybe. I don't know.
We'll get a pic. Don't worry, guys. But check out the YouTube. You can see the video of us recording this shit.
No, and it's just, being here is just so important to me, and then, like, so important to my family. And, like, we both have such great, like, support systems. Like, any way we would have decided, I can say with 100% certainty we both would have been supported by our families.
Absolutely. Like, I totally agree with that statement for sure.
No matter where we would have picked, but deep down, everybody was rooting for IU at my house, so.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that out of my choices that I had, my parents did not want me to go to Purdue. Yeah, I don't know if that's because of, like, the incident or whatever, and also my mom, you know, obviously an IU athletics fan, and my dad being a Michigan Wolverine fan, like, it just was not, you know. And then again, like, after waitlisted and just the amount of money we'd have to pour out, definitely IU was kind of what everybody was rooting for in the back of their minds.
Yeah.
So now we're going to kind of talk about, like, how we met. So this is such a fun story. Basically, if you are in the 21st century and you're getting ready to go to school, you know of, like, GroupMe, you know of Flare now because that's newer, and you know obviously about Snapchat group chats. And then there was one that I used. I literally have to look this up really quick. got invited to be a part of one of these patio. That's what it was. Yes. Patio was something that was being promoted on the class of 2026 IU page on Facebook. That's another thing, is there's Facebook pages for the class so people can connect along with their parents, alumni databases, obviously like LinkedIn. You have so many different things. But Patty was the first one that I used. And it, I met a bunch of people, and then the pages started getting picked, so like you'd see people from, different hometowns than you, looking for roommates, looking for friends. And so I was on a couple. I think I submitted my like information to maybe like 3 or 4. And there was one that I kept coming back to, and I saw Taylor's profile on it, and I was looking for a roommate. I really didn't want to room with anybody from home. 1, because I didn't have a lot of friends, and 2, I've just heard in years past, it just really doesn't work out well. You kind of learn who someone is when you live with them, because you're in tight quarters. A dorm is not that big, especially the dorm we lived in compared to Ethan's. Ethan's was much bigger than ours, but it's just one of those things where you learn who someone is, how they operate and stuff like that. And it was definitely, I was very thankful on my part that I decided to essentially go random, except I picked that person.
Yeah, I think that's such a big part of it too, because, you can go completely random, but even with those pages and stuff, you don't know.
That's so true.
Really, they
you
could
don't.
Be completely lying about like everything.
Yeah,
Not
literally.
That they would,
you could get catfish. Like I didn't even think about that, because honestly, you could create a fake Instagram profile, put this one person's pictures on there, submit this information, and then this person literally gets fucked over. Like that's crazy. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's so valid. Like thinking about it now, like Taylor or I could have been a rando, like no idea. But then, we started snapping, so we realized that it was that person, but still there are ways to get around that. That's so crazy that you brought that up. That's so true.
Well, because I remember initially I submitted to those pages. I think I submitted to 2. The one I actually got like not denied, but they just like
there's no way.
They posted it like 3 months after I submitted the thing. And I get that they're like getting so many people like submitting stuff, but
there would have been people after you that had got put out before you. That's crazy.
I'm like, maybe they just missed it, or they just didn't post me, like whatever. But I ended up on the one that Lexi saw me on. And one of my favorite things about Lexi, and I'll remember it for like ever, was she slid into my Instagram DMs with like,
because it's like,
hey girl.
Hey, girly pop.
I love your Insta.
It was facts, though. I'm not kidding.
And RIP my Instagram.
Oh, God, the Instagram.
It's gone. And I wish I would have screenshotted that DM.
Oh, my God, because memes.
That's such a good memory.
Actually,
for
wait,
us.
I might
probably has
I could probably find it, you guys. But her Instagram got deleted, which we'll get into and probably in another episode.
That's a whole issue.
But RIP the original Taylor Black 11 Instagram, because she's gone with the wind.
Yeah. So, and then I was sitting here, I was like, well, I had been okay with the thought of living with someone from my hometown. Shout out the 3 girls that are from my hometown that go here. Love them to death. I still talk to all of them. I could have seen, like, maybe asking one of them, but then also I was like, I kind of want a new experience, because I'd known those girls for, like, ever, right? So, like, maybe I want someone completely new. So then I put my, not really an application. It wasn't like an application, really, but like your little bio together, and then I submitted it, and I just sat there and I waited. And it took, I want to say it was like 2 or 3 days before you DM me. Because I was like, oh my God, nobody's going to DM me. Like, I'm going to live by myself. Like, this is terrible. So then Lexi DM'd me, and I was literally like, okay, this is it. Like, I didn't talk to, like, I know Lexi talked to other people, which that didn't work out.
Yeah, we'll talk about a little bit of, like, the roommate picking process, too, here in a second.
That didn't work out, but, like, I knew when Lexi DM'd me, I was like, yeah, this is her. I was like, this is who I'm going to live with. Yeah. It just, in that moment, like, that was a sign, and it just, like, made so much sense to me that I was like, oh, yeah, I'll give you my Snapchat random stranger, and then let's be roommates. Like,
yeah. No, it really was one of those things, like, I had reached out to a couple different people just because I was like, you know, I'm not going to hold myself back. Like, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to try to make friends because these pages are also made for you to make friends. Like, it's not just for roommates because there are people on there who already have roommates, just are looking for like-minded individuals because our school is so big that like you want to reach out to as many people as possible. And that's why like when we get into like the dorm life aspect of like how welcome week went, it's literally crazy. But yeah, like it's one of those things where excuse me guys, you wanted to reach out to people. And so I reached out to a couple different girls, didn't pan out. They were kind of similar majors. They were in the healthcare field at the time. And I just kind of thought that maybe I was like, we're like-minded, you know, similar majors. We'll both be really school oriented. Did not work out. Our personalities did not mesh. Very, very different people. And I wish them the best of luck. We're not friends. They seem to be living their best lives. But yeah, no, it just was not for me. And then I came across Taylor's profile and I saw that she did show choir. And again, with us both being in Indiana, we actually used one of the same choreographers. And so we bonded about that, which is really funny. We have some so funny stories about this guy. But
show choir trauma bond.
Literally. Yeah, we could have a whole chat session about show choir trauma bond later on in the series because there is so much shit to unpack. But we just bonded about that and like kind of just talked a little bit and you know, good for her to want to, you know, take a try on a stranger because we did not know each other and we only saw each other's Instagram profiles. And again, someone could be lying, you know, someone could really present themselves well on social media and then their life be an absolute shit show and bring someone else in because, you know, they're living together now. But, yeah, no, it really did work out for the best. And I'm really proud of myself that I reached out because it could not have ended up better. My family loves her and, you know, I hope her family loves me.
They do.
But
they do.
We worked so well together. And I remember we went home for my grandma's 80th birthday pretty early on in the school year.
Very early on.
And Taylor and I literally were getting along so well. And I just remember being there. And I don't know if anyone mentioned to you, but so many people came up to me and they were like, we're just so proud of you and so happy that it worked out. Even my boyfriend's parents like said that to me because they were like, you know, Ethan's roommate is super cool, but we know that it's not going to be like what you and Taylor have. And we just want to tell you that we're so happy for you. And we really are so excited to see like where this friendship grows. And now everyone's like, oh my God, you guys have a podcast together. Like that's fucking awesome. And I'm like, I know, it's amazing. So, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. That's kind of the point of this is like touching on like it's okay not to be best friends with your roommate, but don't let yourself not reach out to people and make friends because rejection is going to happen. There's way too many people at this school or at the school you're going to for rejection not to happen. But the great thing is you probably will never see that person. Unlike us, we run into way too many people for it to be a coincidence.
Shout out our favorite game. We call it Campus Celebrities. And, like, people make TikToks about it, but, like, with us, we're like, oh, my God. Like, our day stops. Like, we'll stop mid-walking to class and call each other and be like, you'll never guess who I just saw.
Yep,
and
literally.
And then it's our favorite game.
Yep. It's crazy. It's, like, actually crazy.
Just spotted. We're like...
But, again, that's why we started a podcast and have a YouTube channel of this because our story here just... is always evolving and people literally are like, this is a movie. And I'm like, I swear to God, it's not. It happens. Like, it's crazy. I don't know if it's because we manifest this shit or something, but it happens. And I don't even understand half the time, like, what the hell is going on. But anyways, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. That's the point. I know a lot of people, obviously, it's the start of a new school year, so we've got a whole new class that is coming into college that's already here. But this goes for all year. Don't forget, like, to put yourself out there. Open your door on your floor. It's still, like, the first month, technically, even though we're in the second month. Like, we started school the 21st, so it's September 6th. We still have a couple weeks to go for the first month. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to make friends. Try. We have so many crazy dorm stories coming up here in a minute. And it's because we put ourselves out there and we learned.
We really did.
We put ourselves out there, but we also learned what kind of people that we want to be around and the other people that we don't want to be around. And people reveal themselves after some time. We're not going to name drop or anything, but it just is really crazy to see how people change and evolve when you are living around them and after you get comfortable after a while. So, Again, use those Instagram pages, reach out on Facebook. Obviously, do your due diligence and make sure that person is who they say they are, and don't ever give money to anybody or anything like that. Those are scams. Like, there's
scam, that was going around.
So many scams, especially with tickets right now. I've heard so many people get scammed out of football tickets or just out of money in general. So, like, just be careful on that front. Be careful, do your due diligence, but don't be afraid to put yourself out there in the sense of meeting new people. And sometimes you have mutual friends, or you know someone who knows them, and then you're like, hey, like, introduce me to this person, and you never know, could be a new friend, best friend, roommate, enemies to lovers, who knows. I certainly don't, but I love Taylor and I could not be more grateful. So that's kind of how we met. And funny enough, our only fight that we ever had was actually not even Taylor and I fighting. And I wouldn't even call it a fight. It was more so like a little text scruff, because I participated in what they call the intensive freshman seminar program at IU. And that means that I came a couple weeks early. I was doing this class online because we were obviously, the university considers us now no longer really in the COVID era. Obviously, COVID is still going on. So, vaccinations are still happening. People still wear masks to be comfortable. Do as you please, but make sure that you are thinking about the other people around you. But yeah, so we were in COVID era. So my professor was wearing a mask. We weren't wearing masks because it wasn't mandated by the university anymore. It was right after the mandate was taken, but my professor was wearing it. Our class was no more than 20 kids, and we were meeting online for hours a day. My boyfriend also did IFS, so we both moved in super early, which was really nice, but it was sad because I was the only person on the floor. The RA wasn't even there yet. So that was a whole nother thing. But kind of getting into that like dorm life thing is that we basically, did IFS. I was there a couple weeks early. And basically, I got into a scooter accident. This is so funny. I have a scar on my arm. Taylor and I have scars on, is it the same arm? Yeah, right.
Left, right?
Yeah, left arm. So we both have scars on our left arm. But basically, I got into an accident. And, but we have matching scars, funny enough, from things. And so I was doing a little scooter, first day of being on campus, by the way. So we had been in this IFS class for like 2 weeks, Zoom calls. My class meets for super long. My boyfriend's met for like an hour a day. I met for like 7 hours a day. But it did prep me really well for college. I will say that. If you have an opportunity to do some sort of intensive seminar over the summer before you go to college, please do it. It really, really, really helped my transition. But anyways, I got into a scooter accident. The brake wouldn't stop on this scooter, and it's an electric scooter, Bird, whatever the fuck it was. But we were taking the scooter from his dorm to mine, which was on the opposite side of campus. And we pulled out of the parking lot, literally no more than 2 feet. And we started going down this hill in front of one of the sorority houses. And we're going on a slow incline, and it starts to speed up. And these things don't go very fast, but with it picking up speed because you're going downhill, I could not brake. It would not fucking stop. So this woman is crossing the pedestrian crosswalk. I'm like, shit, I'm going to hit her. So I threw myself off the scooter, and then literally like I blacked out a little bit, not gonna lie. I like passed out for 2 seconds and then came back to, and it was just crazy. I threw myself off, but took the scooter with me. So it was full force to the scooter coming down. I had like second, third degree burns on my arm, on like the back of my left shoulder. I have a scar from where it like cut into my elbow, so you could actually kind of see the bone. But it's healed over. We're all good now. But it was like encapsulate my first day on campus, guys. I was literally going crazy. But anyways, I kind of lost track of where I was going with this. Anyways, that was just a fun little tidbit. Sorry, I get excited. But
no, it was our first fight.
Oh, right. So I was working on my last project for IFS. I was working on a paper that I had to submit, and my class was about like French culture. So there was a lot that we were unpacking, and this was during like the revolutionary part of France. So it was a really cool class, and I'm working on this big fucking paper, right? And I've moved in. I brought like a small mini fridge, like a mini fridge, basically. It didn't have like a freezer compartment. It only had an ice box inside. And then I also brought our microwave. And we had talked about that. And then I had told Taylor, I said, hey, like, I'm going to bring a fridge just because I moved in like a couple weeks before. The dining halls aren't like, the one dining hall is open. It's across campus, and its hours are really weird. So like, do you mind? And she was like, yeah, no, I don't care. We had mentioned it briefly. And so I was thinking about taking it back home because Taylor was bringing one. And then I'd like left it, and my parents hadn't come and gotten it. And I was thinking about taking it back. And I'm in the Memorial Union working on a paper and my phone is blowing up and it's like from Taylor. And I'm like, oh God, did something happen? Is she okay? Do I need to go back to the dorm? And she's like talking to me about the fridge and being like, why do we have too many fridges? And I was like, oh, like, remember I told you like I was moving in early and I needed to have groceries on me because like the dining hall isn't reliable. And like it was just a really tense texting conversation, and it was just, like I said, like a little scruff. Like there was no like argument. It was just really weird.
Yeah, it wasn't a fight. We were
It was just like it was kind of a miscommunication, I guess. It was just really weird. And then
definitely, miscommunication.
I come to find out it was Taylor's mom texting me and not Taylor. And so I was like, oh my God, like, and it was fine. Like it ended up being okay. I had the mini fridge under my bed, and we just had 2 mini fridges that we used for both of our things.
Which in the end, it worked out perfectly.
It really did. Yeah, for sure.
But because my mom was like, how are you gonna like talk to her about this? I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, well, say this. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm just like, oh my God, she's gonna hate me. I was like, she's going to hate me.
No, I did not. I was not mad at all. I was just confused because I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, shit, did I do something? I'm like, my roommate's already fucking mad at me. Like, I haven't even met her yet. That was the thing, is we literally hadn't even met in person. So it was like a whole thing. And we're like, oh my God, like this is not good. But it ended up being okay. And we haven't fought about anything, knock on wood, since we don't have anyone here. But we're just very mature about it. If one of us has something going on, we're very open about it. And we don't live together anymore, so really sad. But, geez, sorry, guys. We just try to be really open about communication. We're really excited about the podcast and stuff like that. And so we just try to be super honest with one another. If something's bothering us, that, in turn will make our attitude towards other people, not specifically one of us. Like if we're just in a really shitty mood, like she'd be like, hey, I'm not feeling well. This is kind of what's going on. Like maybe we postpone seeing each other, or hey, like I need to see you. I kind of just want to talk about what's going on. I'm not feeling the best and stuff like that. So just being really open, respecting each other's boundaries. That was another thing that we did, I feel like, really well. I am in a 2.5-year relationship. I started dating my current boyfriend junior year of high school. Shout out Gail. Thank you so much, Nana, for setting us up. I love him very much. If you're listening, I love you. But we, he met Taylor, and we it was a very, I feel like from the beginning, very comfortable thing. For him, it was kind of awkward just because he's a very shy person around other people, like that he's not comfortable with. But, he says hi to Taylor now, like when they're out on campus.
I mean, it only took a year, but like we're there. We're on saying hi now.
I'm really proud about that. But yeah, he would like come over and he'd watch, like, we used to watch Dancing with the Stars like every Monday night when that was coming out. And then he'd watch like Below Deck, which, oh my God, that show was our peak. That was so funny. But, like he was there when all of that was going on. And so it was one of those things where it was just learning about respecting boundaries for one another. And, I was asking Taylor, like, hey, is it okay if Eth spends the night tonight? Like, these dorm beds are fucking tiny as hell. Like, no one was doing anything because everybody can get their head out of the gutter. We were not fucking while my roommate was right there. I know some people definitely thought that was going on, but that is not the case. My boyfriend came over and we went to bed. Like, I literally was just like, I like having you, like, we sleep together. Like, when we were back home, Taylor's dying right now. Her face is red. But swear that literally was not happening. I know so many people were like, oh my God, your boyfriend slept over with your roommate. I was like, yo, chill. It's a normal thing. We were literally not doing anything. But
we were watching American Dad.
Literally, we were. Like, we were watching American Dad, freaking Rick and Morty and shit, and like random things like Harry Potter. Like, we were watching whatever, and people were like, oh my God, like, no. So it wasn't like that. It was very much like,
the one thing that me and Ethan beef about.
Oh, this is so funny.
John Benet Ramsey conspiracy.
Because Taylor and I are super big true crime junkies. Like, obviously, that's why we listen to Elena and Ash on Morbid. But, like, we would conceptualize and conspiracize about things. And this was the one thing that Ethan and Taylor would fight about. And it was so funny.
Just because, like, it really wasn't even a fight. Like, no. Ethan, he was so calm. It would just be like... Well, Taylor, that doesn't make any sense.
He's so logical sometimes. I'm like, shut up.
No, but, and he's like, it just doesn't make any sense.
No, I know, that's his argument. It's like, it doesn't make sense.
And he's just, that was the one thing that we, like, disagreed about. But, like, it could have been so much worse. Like, we know people who, like, had significant others, And that, like, ruined their roommate, like, bond.
Yeah, I mean.
Because there was no respect, no anything.
No, it was.
And, like, you guys were always just so respectful. And there's, like, a joke that they're like, I'm not their third wheel, I'm their child.
That's facts.
So, like, if you see any of Lexi's Instagram pictures and I put the rents on there, it's just
Mom and dad.
Mom and mom's boyfriend. That was the running joke. But
no, literally.
It was just, like, and that's where we, like you said, we were so good about that. Just, like, the respect and, like, the communication that, like, it was never an issue.
And that's what I don't understand. Some people just really don't get, like, just pure respect for other people. It doesn't, make any sense to me. And so we kind of were just, like, trying to make sure that we respected one another and things like that. And so, that's what's important about dorm life and sharing space and stuff like that. I mean, we've got so many more crazy stories that, like, we'll talk about probably later on in the series. But, we were really close with the RA. Taylor can talk more about that because she's super close with Charlie. Like, Charlie, we're close, but Taylor and her do other things with, like, activities outside of, obviously, the fact that we're friends with her outside of dorm life. But just really respecting your roommate and respecting the space that you're in. Like, you got to make the best of it. Like, the bathrooms are horrible in McNutt. Like, shout out to McNutt, Bookabo, Floor 1.
We could do a whole episode on just McNutt.
Yeah, we honestly should.
Honestly,
TBH.
The Tide Pod war.
Oh my God.
Shout out those people that shall not be named.
Oh, Jesus. They don't deserve that fame.
Just the crazy stuff. And we lived on a mixed, like...
Yeah, like a co-ed floor.
Co-ed floor. We had boys on our floor. And our goal was to be friends with the boys so they would leave one bathroom clean.
Mm-hmm.
We eventually got there, but there was so many times that we were literally like, we can't do this. Like, it's not happening.
Right.
Night one, certain boys shotgunned Bud Light in the whole floor sink room. Like, everybody uses this area. It's covered in beer. Me and Lexi got to brush our teeth. There's beer cans everywhere. We're just like...
fucking disgusting.
We're just like, what is happening? So then we were like, we have to become friends with them. We have to become civil with them so they will leave us the bathroom. Which eventually, we got there.
True.
And we never got Tide Pods thrown at our door, so...
Thank goodness that never happened. But... yeah, it was just one of those things. Like, we definitely will have to cover more of dorm life, probably in the next episode for sure. But that's just, like, the importance of, like, roommates. That's the whole preface of this episode and kind of, like, how we're friends is just, again, not being afraid to put yourself out there, but also just really respecting boundaries. I think a lot of people come to college and they think that you can be super mature in every aspect. I mean, sure, this is time to have fun and, we do a lot of fun things and stuff like that. But in a sense of, like, you are sharing a living space with someone or people. I mean, there are people who lived in triples and in quads. And my boyfriend's situation was he had a roommate, but they shared an ensuite bathroom with two other guys. They were an all-boys floor. By the way, the cleanest all-boys floor I've ever seen in my life. And the nicest all-boys floor I've ever seen. Their RA was super cool. Just a very chill floor all around. And the bathrooms were clean and everything like that, which is crazy because ours was horrible. But we'll definitely get more into dorm life in another episode. But yeah, it's just one of those things, like, don't be afraid to make friends. Really put yourself out there, make friends in your classes, put yourself into group chats, try to meet people. Welcome week was absolutely crazy. We met a girl on our floor. Shout out Emma. We love you so much.
Yes, we love Emma.
Actually meant to tell you this. I ran into her the other day at the IMU Starbucks. Actually, I literally think it was... yesterday. It was yesterday. And we just chatted for a while, and she's doing really good. We're both in IU Dance Marathon, which is an activity or like a club here that's really big. And we were kind of just catching up about that. But we were just catching up and reminiscing about some stuff. But literally, like, one of the first nights we were in the dorm, we and a couple other people that we had met on the floor went to her room and stared out her window onto the main amphi because there was a group of people, like, hundreds of kids out, and who didn't all live in McNutt. This is from kids all across campus. We're coming and congregating in front of McNutt, playing music and being fucking obnoxious that the police had to show up.
That's a canon event. It
Absolutely.
happened again this year.
I remember that, yeah.
I know some freshmen, and I was talking to one of them, and she was like, yeah, no, like, a whole bunch of us got invited to stand out in front of McNutt. And I'm like, stand out in front of McNutt? What are you talking about? And then the flashback in my head was in Emma's room. We're all looking out her window, and it's just a sea of people. And they're just doing random stuff.
Like, yeah, like that's not even anything. Like there's no like event being held there. There's no university like attendee. Like there's literally nothing. Like it purely was for people trying to make friends, but it was like crazy. Like people were just like when we were freshmen when this happened, or well, when we were, you know, living in the dorm when this happened, like there was a girl that I met. I don't know. I can't remember who it was, but we had met the girl. There was a video of a kid chucking that big traffic cone and it hit this girl in the head and she literally sued his family. Like it was a whole thing. And it was on like Barstool at some point, which that's another thing that we'll have to talk about in the hot takes video, is the fact that the IU Barstool account was deleted and now has been remade. It's so funny, the whole premise behind that. But literally so crazy that incident happened, because you were like, what the actual fuck is going on? And like there was a video of it and this poor girl just got pummeled and people were just going crazy. They had to shut off the grass section by this window so it could regrow, because there were so many people there that it destroyed the grass. Like it was literally just a mud patch for so long. They would put fences up and people would still cut through it, which I'm guilty of. A lot of us are guilty of walking through that because, you know, shortcut around the sidewalk. Especially because our door obviously was right there. So people would cut through and then walk towards like the McNutt entrance. And so they literally had to start gating it off and being like, we are trying to regrow the grass because of you fuckers, like get off. It's just really funny. So yeah, I mean, we're going to kind of wrap up a little bit. If Tay, you want to give a little bit more on dorm life, and then we're going to kind of talk about majors and segue into the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, somehow we just, like, we had a crazy, crazy dorm life experience. We at one point had a friend group that was our whole floor, which that ended up
not working out.
Fizzling out.
And you know what? That's
fine.
okay.
It's fine.
It happens.
And you don't have to be best friends with everybody on your floor. Like,
exactly.
You really
like
don't.
We've said, you don't even have to be friends with your roommate.
No, you don't. But as long as you still have, like, people, it's fine.
Absolutely.
That's my take. We tried the whole floor friend group. It worked for a bit, but like I said, we still have Emma.
Yeah, we have Emma.
We love Emma.
And you know, like there are people that we run into like every once in a while and that we're civil with, but like, will we ever be friends with these people? Probably not, just because that's how it works. Like that's just kind of what life is. But we're kind of going to talk really quick about the topic of the next episode, which we are filming next week, and that is majors. So my current major is sports media with 4 different concentrations or minors. I have a minor in psychology. I have a minor in sports management / marketing, a public relations minor, as well as a media creative advertising minor. And my sister really wants me to add in fashion, you know, or like a fashion merchandising minor. That's a lot. You know, if worst comes to worst, I really could, but that's kind of where I am. I did not come in with this major at all. I came in as a pre-nursing major. Like I had mentioned earlier in the episode, I had applied to all my schools as a nursing / pre-nursing major, and here we are. So I did have a psych minor originally, that kept, but I did add on 3 as well as switch my major. So that's a little bit about me, and we'll kind of talk about how I got here in the next episode. Tay, you want to share with what's going on with you?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, originally I was a psychology major, and I had it in my mind that I was just gonna do a criminal justice minor, right? Well, now here we are. I'm currently a criminal justice major, and then I am double minoring in psychology and then law and public policy. So yeah, that's where we are. I mean, that's keyword is current. Those were our current majors.
Yeah.
But there's more to that story. So definitely, I don't know. I mean, can I go ahead and say the message for what our
Absolutely.
Drop the episode name for next week?
Absolutely,
maybe?
you can.
Yeah. So next week's episode, which it's very important to both of us, and
absolutely,
we definitely had a lot of thinking into this process. So
for sure.
Next week's Ep 2 is It's Okay to Change Your Major. Why? Because we both did.
Facts on facts. And again, we'll let that kind of sit with you for a little bit. People who are of our age/grade, and obviously the new little ones that have just come in, don't put too much pressure on yourself if you realize that what you're doing is not what is meant for you. And we'll get more into that in the next episode for sure. But kind of just want to leave you with that, just to know that it's okay. Obviously, things are probably going really great right now. And if they're not, you're not alone. So with that, we will see you guys in the next episode.
Yeah, we'll see ya.
Thank you so much for watching/listening. We love you all very, very, very much. And yeah, this has been Lex.
This has been Tay.
And we have been Taken on College.